I've decided that this week's Monday mindset meeting is going to be a little bit different. Um, I am ready to be fully transparent about some things that I think are super important for several reasons. Number one, I hate when I see someone on social media who just appears fake happy. Like when it's clear that there's something going on. And for me, I had this dream last night and someone came to me and said, you just don't seem that happy. And I was like, yeah, I'm not. And she was like, and I wish you would talk about it. And I want to talk about it because I think it's very easy, of course, with social media to want to make, we want to make joy. We want other people to feel happy, but it's hard to produce joy when you yourself are struggling to feel joy. Now, on a grand sense of things, like I am happy, like things are good. Love being a dad. I love my life. I feel very lucky to get to do what I do. But at the same time, the last year has been really, really difficult for me on a very personal level. Um, One is we'll talk about my health, but one is that I have really been falling out of love with performing for a long time. When I would say my last 4 or 5 Broadway shows, I was really not happy. I really was trying to take advantage of the opportunities. I enjoyed the paycheck. Um, I enjoyed, for the most part, the company, the cast, but I didn't want to do it anymore. I hated the schedule. Most of the time, there was something creative or artistic that I had to overcome. And the stamina required vocally and the stamina required emotionally to do 8 shows a week really was taking a toll on me. And living in New York City, when the pandemic hit, there was this part of me that was sad because my whole identity had been sort of wrapped up in being on Broadway. But I uh, really was relieved that I didn't have to do it. And since then, it has been a struggle to figure out how to resolve that because most of my income, when I've made the most money, has been from performing. And whenever an opportunity would come, I would take it because I needed the money, I needed the job, and then I would go do it, and I would be kind of unhappy and, try to figure out how to take advantage of it, right? Do stuff on the side, build up my coaching business, all of that. It's been searching and searching and searching. Like, what do I want to do? And social media became, Broadway Husbands became like this place where I could take a lot of that creativity and funnel it into something of my own, something that I could do with my husband, something that we could do that was fun. And then, it started to make us some money. Excuse me. And the money got really good, especially in 2023. But we went back to New York. Steven did a Broadway show there. That added its own challenges because we had to move. So there's the moving expenses, and then New York is much more expensive. So we've had this financial struggle going on since really pre-pandemic that we have never quite been able to get out of, partly because we decided to go through surrogacy, and surrogacy is so expensive. So this adds a lot of pressure to make money, to create more content, to try to build this business, also to say yes to things and opportunities when they came. And so when Disney Cruise Line offered me a position to go do Broadway guest artist, it was not something I really wanted to do, but it was something I was like, it's money and it's Disney. And it was something I wanted to do in 2017. It was not something I wanted to do in 2023. And then, of course, I go work on this Disney cruise ship and I'm sick like 60% of the time. I'm on the ship for like 11 weeks and I'm sick almost the whole time. Pretty sure I had COVID at some point. I think that we discovered that maybe I have some sort of allergy to dust mites because the air is so recirculated on the ship. Um, but I came back just, it was struggle, like trying to sing while being sick and trying to push through so much of that schedule. And I really didn't want to do it. So we went full time Broadway Husbands and uh was loving it. Was like and life in Houston was so affordable and cheap that it was like it was fine. It was easy. And then the election came. And all of a sudden when the election came, so many of the brand opportunities we had with Broadway Husbands dried up because marketing budgets were not going to compete with campaign budgets. And then you have the whole rolling back DEI work. So a lot of companies are not needing visibility or wanting to search for visibility for LGBTQ plus families. All of a sudden, last fall, our income just really dropped. And that was incredibly stressful and added a lot of pressure. And I got accepted to graduate school in Orlando, which we knew we are going to probably have to move. So we're adding this level of pressure to like I'm trying to like get get coaching clients and needing to generate income um and I'm realizing that like that's not a great motivator. That's not a great reason to get people to work with you. And it's also not why I want to do this, right? I want to help people. I want to make money doing it, but I don't, it's not the primary reason. And so all of a sudden in January, I get incredibly sick. We don't know what's happening. I'm losing weight. I'm dropping weight like crazy. Find out in March that I had some sort of intestinal parasite, which we have no idea how it came about. And I had to go through an incredible bout of um, antibiotics. And one of the things I haven't really talked about is that in the middle of all of this, my therapist, who I've been with since I was 22, we talk every week. He lived in Brazil now. Uh, he one day just didn't show up to one of our calls after 20 whatever years of therapy and found out by the end of the week that he mysteriously was killed in Brazil. And it was incredibly traumatic for me. And the grief that was in December was huge. And I can't help but think that so much of this physical stuff is affected by the mental, the stress of needing to make money and the stress of grieving, of losing a reliable support system. And then all of a sudden in May, we move. We move to Orlando. We don't have jobs. We sell our house. We have a 3-year-old who doesn't understand what moving is. And I'm trying to emotionally stay, uh, you know, resilient for him. But I'm feeling so much pressure to generate money and generate income. And it's not fun. And I'm not enjoying so much of the process. In the meantime, I'm grieving. I'm grieving my therapist. I'm grieving my passion for performing because I loved performing. It was something I wanted to do for my whole life, but I just kept finding time and time again that these jobs were just so unsatisfying. And so I want to say all of this to say that I don't want anyone to see my social media and think that somehow I'm just always happy and things are just always joyful because they aren't. Social media is a fraction, just a slight look into someone else's life. My intention is to make others happy, and that's what I try to use my social media for. But I think it's important to understand that um, all of this grief, all of this stuff that we have to process, maybe isn't meant for social media, but it's also important to talk about because other people are probably going through it too. Now, cut to now, we go to Lake Tahoe. I break out in this horrible rash. This virus takes over my body. I've had a cough. I got a sinus infection. I mean, and I can't help but believe that what's happening emotionally is also now manifesting itself physically. So I know my body is telling me something. It's telling me to scale down, to take a step back, chill out, trust a little bit, focus on one thing. And so my focus really now is on Broadway Husbands. I love making content there. I think we can make a bigger impact there. And I'm going to start graduate school and perhaps, get a job working in themed environments. We'll see. But I don't want anyone to look at my account and think that somehow he's pretending. I'm not pretending. I'm trying to serve, and I think it's also important to talk about the tough things. And I don't know why I felt compelled to do this. Like I said, I had this dream last night that's just said I need to come clean, basically, and have some transparency around what's going on. I know this is just a blip, but I know that in order to take care of my body, I have to take care of my mind and my emotional security. I need to find a new therapist, which I haven't done since mine passed away. I need to give myself a little more flexibility and freedom and less pressure to generate income. So um, you're probably going to see me promoting my coaching less for that reason. But I also really hope that, people know I have a great community of creatives and artists that I love to help. And if you want to be part of it, you are more than welcome. Anyway, this is my confession. I needed to talk about it. Back to school season is here and it's August. It's like, let's create a fresh start. I'll keep you updated on my health journey. You know, I think that it's going to be interesting to see. I have to get my immune system back up. I just think that ever since the parasite, my immune system has just not been good. And it's made me vulnerable to other things. So we'll see. Mike, and just reading the comments. Thanks, Mikey. Well, if you listened to this, I hope you found it helpful. And I will keep you posted. All right. Go follow Broadway Husbands. Some new podcast episodes are coming out. And now that we're home from our crazy 2-week excursion, we will be here making more content. All right. Have a good week. Bye.